I left for Quebec about 2 months after I graduated from high school. And there I met a young man who I thought was an extremely good guy. Turns out he was extremely abusive. We got together later after Youth with a Mission and got married, and it was a severely abusive relationship for 18 years. But the saving grace is that I had a genuine relationship with Jesus. So in spite of all that went on, he continually guided me through and pointed me the right direction, even though as somebody who was an enabler, I kept trying to make excuse for this person and love them to a place of healing, which you can't do. Only God can do that. So it took a lot of physical abuse and even a child dying to wake up and get free. And the way that happened was really cool, because I thought as a Christian I didn't want to divorce someone. As a Christian I didn't want to give a legacy of my kids to that kind of thing. But what I didn't see was I was giving them a legacy of abuse. So as a mom I had to stand up and be strong, and a lot of women don't get out alive, and I almost didn't. But God's grace was full on all over me. And one day in church, my daughter and I were sitting, and this guy was a guest speaker from the East Coast. We didn't know anyone in the church. And he stopped what he was saying and looked straight at us and said, "Could you come up here?" And my daughter and I looked at each other and we're like, "What?" So we go up there, and he took my hand, and no one in the group knew I was an artist, but I am. And that's what he started out with. These are the hands of an artist. And God reaches down and lets you know he's in it when he's doing something great. And that was his letting me know, hey, listen to the rest of this. I know you. So the guy basically said, you've been unequally yoked. Your foundations have been destroyed like termites by words and anger. You have promises before God, and God says they're past time. And I'm going to take you and be your husband, and you are free. You no longer have to be in this situation. He didn't know my husband. He didn't know me. He didn't know my daughter. He didn't know the hell that we'd been through. But that night, I felt almost as light and joyful as the night I accepted Jesus. You can't do it without him. You won't live. You won't heal. Without Jesus in that situation, I wouldn't have gotten out. I wouldn't be alive. I wouldn't be smiling. I wouldn't be free in my heart. There was a time, one of the worst times probably, I was sitting on the couch and a loft was above me, and all of a sudden this huge, people call it a Louie when people spit a real chunk of spit, landed on my head from above. It was my husband, and he was basically doing what he did best and berating me and screaming at me. And I kind of sat there in shock with the stuff dripping down my head, and I just kind of got up and went into my room and shut the door, and I sat down on the bed, and the realization of how much hatred it takes for somebody to do that was so real to me. And in that moment where I was like bottom lined out, as far as confusion and shock and just, I'd already poured out my whole life. God said to me, you go to the mirror and tell yourself the truth. And at first I was like, and this happened so many times, his voice came through loud and clear and saved my life. So I walked into the bathroom and I'm just staring in the mirror with all this crap all over my hair. And the verse about, I knit you in your mother's womb. Before you were born, I knew you. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. I love you. And these were all steps out to freedom. And without Jesus, you would not get there.